you so well hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Natalie and I'm Ukrainian citizen. Today we're gonna talk about how is to live in the United States of America as a Ukrainian citizen, and we will talk about pros and cons of America. So I prepared a little bit like notes to help me with that video because this is my first talking video on YouTube, so I'm kind of a little bit nervous. I had the story with my camera. Spoiler, I dropped the camera after like a few days of owning it. I was super stressed, but I got new lens and hopefully it will be fine and last for a little while, so I can record the video and tell you about how I actually feel living in America. So let's start about my story appearing in the United States. Long story short, I came to America in April this year. Every time I'm meeting new friends, every time I'm meeting new people, they're asking me like, oh, you're not from here, so how do you like America? And I'm usually like, so I decided to record the video and tell you about how I feel here. So let's talk about positive side and what I really like, what I really appreciate, and what is really amazing in this beautiful country. So first of all is comfort. Comfort in America is really important. People usually trying to make everything super comfortable so they won't spend extra time to do something that they're not supposed to do. Like for example, you can drive through a bank. We don't have that in Ukraine. So here in US, you're sitting in your car comfortably and you're just speaking with a bank worker through the drive-through window. That's just amazing. I mean, I never heard about it. When I first saw that, I'm like, are you really not supposed to walk in the bank building to receive bank services? Another pros about comfort, you can also order groceries online, and it's common in my country too. But here you can choose several options like pick up on the curbside, and it's almost anywhere, any shop that you can ever imagine, making pickup locations. So you just order it online. If you don't want to walk around people or you're just busy, and you can do that while your husband driving or your parent driving or whatever you're doing, so you just order it online, choose the option of curbside pickup. You just come at the curb, push the button that you are here, and somebody will bring it to you like in a couple of minutes. That's so cool. I mean, this is really comfortable and saving your time. Actually, most principles and mentality difference between Ukrainians and Americans is saving time. So Americans really love to save time because most of the time they like having 2 jobs and working a lot, and they don't have time to do anything extra. They just need it here and now. Sometimes it's a pro, sometimes it's a con. So sometimes it's really bad for you, like such a food, but we will talk about food a little bit later. So another pros about America is varieties of nature and varieties of landscapes. So in America you can find desert, you can find ocean, you can find forest, you can find almost anything that you can even imagine. And the country is so wide and so huge that you can literally travel like years and see every week, every day, new scene. So one day you will be in the desert, another day you will be in the forest. America is huge, so I'm really looking forward to go on a trailer trip and see that beautiful landscapes of America. Another thing that I forgot to tell and mention about Ukraine, that we also have a bunch of different types of landscapes. So we also have mountains, we have deserts, we have the sea and access to the sea. lakes and everything, and castles. So you can also travel around Ukraine and see really different scenes and landscapes and areas. But Ukraine is sized like a couple of states of America. So Ukraine is really small, and this is probably disadvantage of being a small country, because somebody like your neighbor can attack you and your country and you're in trouble. In US it's not gonna happen because US is really huge and it's a completely different continent, so it's less chances that somebody might attack United States. Another really important pros is safety. In America you feel much more safer on your own property than in Ukraine. So for example, in Ukraine, if you will leave your car open, even in your driveway, or if you will forget your grocery bag in your driveway or close to your house, somebody might steal it. And yeah, this is a bad thing about Ukraine. It's not everywhere, but sometimes it happens, and it's really, really frustrating. But in US, if you will leave your car open, if you will leave your bags with groceries somewhere outside, or if you will leave your belongings like in your driveway, or if you even went to the job, went to work in the morning, and delivery guy left package on your entrance area, at your entrance door, all day nobody will touch it. And that's really amazing advantage, I would say, about US, because you feel much more safer. Not in all areas, of course, because some areas are like a little bit more dangerous, I would say, but that's really obvious when you come in these areas. If you come and you see people around like suspiciously looking, or you see it's like area a little bit dirty or people not looking nice, you should understand that it's probably not safe area. But if it's a nice neighborhood, if it's like neighbors that you know, they will take care of your things and they will watch you, probably like watch your side if somebody coming. And you're usually calm and you ask about people not stealing your stuff. Okay, another pros about America, people are actually really friendly. For me, that was like cultural shock when I just came to America. Why everybody's so interested how I am today? Because in Ukraine we usually don't have the small talk, and we not talk to strangers because we are more like closed and secured society, and we have our close friend circle with whom we are communicating. But if you are a stranger, we're like not talking to you. And here everybody like, hey, how are you? For me that was really weird first couple of months, but I'm adjusting by the time, so I hope I will Americanize by the time, and I'm already asking people like, hey, how are you? And I really care how they do. If they need my help, I'm willing and happy to help. So yeah, this is something that I'm really enjoying about the US. Speaking about how people friendly, I also want to mention how people are really helpful even for strangers. So for example, if you extremely need help like right now at this moment, and you don't have anybody, like no friends or no family, and you are in extremely need, people will come and help you, even if you're a completely stranger to them. In Ukraine it's becoming more common because of the situation in the country, because Russia attacked Ukraine, and Ukrainians are like gathering together, helping each other, buying each other like food and warm clothes, and helping how they even possibly can. And in US it's like so normal, like little gestures that helps in your everyday life. I even cannot remember examples, like I don't know, I mean, if you drop something, people will just catch it and give it to you and smiling. or if you need a buggy, somebody will give you a buggy at the groceries, or if you need a hand and something is like on a high shelf in the groceries, somebody will just come and give it to you who is taller, so it's not a big deal, and people are really happy and willing to help you in the US. So I think it's a huge pros. Another good thing about the US is the low interest in the bank if you borrow money. So for example, in my country, in Ukraine, if you wanna buy like a real estate, percentage is ridiculous. So it doesn't matter which credit score you have in Ukraine, most of the time you will have to pay like 18% of interest to the bank. Here in US, people have like this credit score program. I don't know all information about that yet, but so far I know about the, if you have really good credit score in the bank, you might pay like 3-5% interest for real estate, and it's really amazing. I have noted the land of free people, home of a brave, and it's not just a slogan. Yeah, I think that is really true about Americans, because people got used to freedom of speech, freedom of choosing any kind of religion, and being whoever they want and whatever they want to do. And I think if somebody will come, like Russia came in my country, in Ukraine, and attacked my country and start raping women, kids, and killing men and killing everybody and stealing stuff and something like that, if something like that will happen in the US will kick the butt of that group of people, because US is not allowing something like that happening on their lands. And I think it's really great, because people get used to the freedom, get used to the brave nation, they protecting their territory. They are like, we're not joking. If you will threaten us, we'll protect ourselves. And I think it's really great. Slowly we come into the cons. So freedom in US is like pros, but I would say also about cons. So freedom of being anyone you want, it's a little bit like too free. So people, if they would like to be a cat and identify themselves as a cat, they can't do that in US, which I think it's ridiculous. But here they are free to do that, and they can actually legally become a cat, a man, a woman, an alien, pasta, religion, whatever they can even remember or invent or think of. Unfortunately, some states are allowing these crazy people to do bad things. Well, US people just dealing with that, but I'll tell you honestly, not everybody in US like that. The thing that I don't like about US is the food culture. I hope you understand, guys. I'm from European country. We eat a lot of good food, and I really miss Ukraine because we have so many good restaurants and so many good food. But our cultures, like food cultures, are really different, because in Ukraine people eat more vegetables and grains. Of course we eat in bread too, and dough, any type of dough, and we are really close to Italy, so we like sometimes eating Italian food like pasta and pizza and bread and sandwiches and something like that with dough. But we still have a lot more vegetables than in US. And in US, most of the time food is processed and contains a lot of preservatives and no vegetables most of the time. The biggest vegetable that you can find is like pickle in burgers, or lettuce, which is like this amount. So it's really not a vegetable culture, unfortunately. Maybe in different states, like not in North Carolina where I'm currently at now, maybe they have bigger vegetable culture, but here, unfortunately, not. Well, and as I say, most of the time people are so busy with their like 2 jobs and doing this and that to pay their like student loans or rent or something else, that they don't have time to cook good food. They don't have time to like spend 1 hour cooking. They just buy processed food and put it in the microwave, 1 minute, it's done. I'm really happy that I was raised and born in Ukrainian family, and my mom was cooking so many vegetable dishes, and I'm taking her recipes and cooking it here, and I don't mind spending like 1 hour. I have time to cook, and I know that you're like cooking 1 or 2 hours to eat it like in 5 minutes, but it's still worth it because Americans are like saving time by eating and cooking all this processed stuff, but at the end of their life, like even before retirement, they already have a lot of health issues, and then they spend the money that they earn during their life to heal themselves with the pills or with like medicine or with something to not to die. I mean, why would you do that? I would rather spend time on cooking food and eat better food, like buying organic stuff and better stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but at the end of the day, you won't spend a bunch of money on the medical care to treat your diseases that this processed food will cause you. So it's like long term, short term. What you will choose? Save your time and eat processed food, or spend extra time and save your life? Priorities, right? Another huge minus in US is medical care. It's ridiculously expensive. I never heard that visit to a dentist could cost like $1,000 or something like that. Thankfully, most of the people are having medical insurance, but I've noticed in US medical care is not like in Ukraine. In Ukraine, the doctor most of the time trying to help patient and save patient's life and money and time and really be helpful if you find the right doctor. Here in US, unfortunately, but doctors care more about their license and not losing their license. And if it will be the choice between license and patient's life, they will choose license because basically they cannot say, oh, we have a secret herbal medicine, but we are not allowing you to take that because we will lose our license. No, they won't do that because they will basically lose their job and license and stay without money. And if you don't have insurance in US, medical care is just super expensive. So for example, I heard that to call ambulance in the United States, it will cost you around $5,000. Tell me if I'm wrong, but in Ukraine, to call an ambulance is for free because government pays for that. And they will come in Ukraine like 20 minutes for free and help you and rescue and try to save your life. Here in US, you will end up paying like around $20,000 if you have an emergency, and ambulance will come and pick you up and they will run some tests and doctor will see you, you will have few consultations. It's really expensive. If you don't have medical insurance in US, you are in trouble. Okay, and speaking about doctors in Ukraine, so we have like government hospitals and private clinics. In the government hospitals, all medical care is free in Ukraine, and in private clinics, it's not free, obviously, because they have to pay rent and salary and everything, and the government doesn't help them. But the cost of the medical treatment and medical services will be like 5 or 10 times smaller than in US. So for example, consultation like $10, $15, $20, surgeries like $1,000 and up to like 5, maybe 10, but 10 is like to replace the knees, plastic surgery could cost like $5,000, $10,000, but not more. It should be a really complicated and real like hard surgery, like heart maybe surgery or something that could cost like 20,000 or more. But average prices for medical service in Ukraine are really cheap compared to US. And for example, giving a birth to a baby in Ukraine, it will be like $1,000, $2,000 maximum in really good private clinic, when everybody will jump around you and help you and serve you like you are a god. Here in US, it will be like around $10,000, something like that. So yeah, medical costs in US is ridiculously expensive. So we slowly come into another count: medical insurance and insurance generally. Okay, insurance in US is really important and must have, but usually and most of the time it's just a scam. So you're paying a bunch of money for insurance companies, and when it comes time to help you in like emergency situation, insurance company trying to do their best to avoid paying money to people. So for example, if somebody will having a car wreck, and it was even not your fault, somebody just landed in your back of your car, you will spend hours with insurance company to prove that you really need that money. They probably won't pay like all amount of money to repair your car, and probably you will spend extra money on lawyers to prove in the court that that was an accident and it's not your fault. So yeah, whole insurance story in US is completely screwed up, and it's just a scam because you're paying a bunch of money and they're not helping you at the end of the day. In Ukraine, we don't have insurance most of the time. It's just not popular, so people like insurance, and most of the time people just go to the private clinics, and medicine is, I would say, 10 times cheaper in Ukraine, and it's 10 times better because doctors are really care about patients, and if they know the way how to treat patients so the patient will be healthy and happy again, they will offer that option. I really miss Ukraine. Another minus living in US is taxes. Not taxes the state, taxes that percentage that you pay for government while you have income, or when you're purchasing something, or whatever you're doing with money. So taxes is like huge topic in US, and I'm still trying to figure out taxes in US and all information about that. People actually learning that like from probably school, like middle school or something. So I have a note that I made about taxes. So most of the time when you get in your paycheck, you get 3 types of taxes: is state tax, federal tax, and retirement tax. So each state has their own percentage of taxes that you pay while you get in your paycheck. In North Carolina is 15%, plus federal tax is like 20% that you should pay. And retirement tax is 8% that you pay from every paycheck, every month, every year while you are working. And if you go to the store to purchase groceries or buy some clothes or makeup or whatever, you pay sales tax. Every time you're purchasing something, you pay 7% tax. And that's not it. I'm still not finished. Services are also taxed. So if you're like ordering cleaning service or car repair service, any type of service, you will pay service tax. I don't know exact amount, but you pay this extra. Utility like water, electricity, sewage, and they even tax rainwater. So the water that comes from the clouds on your own property, they tax that. Rainwater taxed. So at the end of the day, you pay like approximately 50% from your paycheck on the taxes. Of course, you can return them a little bit, like not the whole amount. Somehow, I don't know exactly how people do that, but it's just ridiculous. In Ukraine, we don't have taxes added like that much. We still have them, but for example, in the groceries in Ukraine, taxes are already included in the price. So if you see the price like $5 in Ukrainian grocery store, it will be $5 at the cashier. Another cons in US is public transportation. Unfortunately, it's really bad. I mean, I will just tell about Ukraine. So in Ukraine, public transportation is really good developed. So you can go from one city to another like in a couple hours by the train. And from the train station, you have a bunch of buses, a bunch of trolley buses, and a bunch of different types of public transportation that cost like a couple dollars or even less than $1. And they can take you anywhere. Plus you have taxi drivers that like couple taxi companies that runs in almost every city. So it's really developed, and most of people in Ukraine, they even don't have cars because the public transportation works so good. Of course, after the war started, it's not that good because some Russians missiles destroyed our transportation system. Hopefully after our victory we will rebuild, renew everything. It will make us even better. In US, if you don't have a car, you're in trouble because trains, I even don't know where is the train station here. And yeah, if you don't have a car, you're stuck completely. So everybody in US gets driver license like 16, 17 years old and starts driving the car, and it's really common to have like 3 cars per family, like for every member of a family. This is completely normal, which is completely opposite in Ukraine. In Ukraine, people also have cars, but not like every family. Another cons about US is beauty industry. Unfortunately, I cannot find reasonably priced beauty services here in US like I can in Ukraine. So for example, any service for hair, skin, nails, it's ridiculously expensive in US because in the price usually included taxes, lawyer fees in case somebody will decide to sue that hairdresser or somebody, rent, which is enormously here, and many pieces of the price creates a huge amount of money. So for example, when you wanna go like to a hair salon and do a keratin treatment, it will cost like $400 or $500. In Ukraine, it's like twice cheaper usually. I will just tell the prices. Okay, laser epilation is $40 in Ukraine. The same area, the same procedure is $400 in US. Facial in Ukraine is $20 compared to $200 in US. Haircut is like $20 in Ukraine compared to $100 in US. Hair coloring like $100 compared to like $200-300 in US. Botox $200 in Ukraine compared to I even don't know how much in US. Lip fillers in Ukraine $200-300 compared to like I even don't know these prices in US because I just stopped after knowing how much is laser epilation costs here. I just stopped asking because I'm not gonna spend like $1,000 on my whole body of pampering. So in Ukraine I was spending like $500 maximum, and I did like from tip to toe all my body pampered and done in salon, and everything was fun and I was beautiful and nice and treated and pampered. Here the same amount of services will probably cost like $1,000 or more. So yeah, salon at home. I'm doing pampering at home. Unfortunately, sooner or later I will come back to Ukraine and we'll do that services again, but in US is just impossible. And speaking about nail industry, I even don't want to risk and go do nails in the US because I saw results on the photos and it's just horrible. They don't do polish close to cuticle. They don't sanitize their instruments the proper way, like in these big machines where you put it on a couple of hours and it sanitize it with like high temperatures. So yeah, no thanks. I think I understand why Ukrainian women are more pampered. So because in Ukraine it's so much cheaper, and of course these hairdressers and skincare doctors, they also have licenses and they got educated in most European countries, and they self-conscious about their like materials and tools and everything. I really miss Ukraine. Ukraine, I love you and I miss you. So to summarize that whole video, I would say that Ukraine has its own advantages and disadvantages, and US has its own advantages and disadvantages like any other country. Some things are better, some things are worse, and you just choose for yourself. Is it suits you? Are you comfortable there or not? And for me, US is a country of possibilities. It's a country of freedom and safety, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the whole people I met in US that've been helpful to me, and I'll never forget that. And I hope the war in Ukraine will end soon and we will win, because this is just madness that's going on right now and nobody deserves something like that. And I hope it will never happen to you guys who sitting and watching that video right now in safety and the country that is like not in danger. So I hope that that will never happen to you, because it shouldn't be happen. It's just ambitions of one crazy freaking guy who not deserve to live. Anyway, I hope everything will be good soon. Glory to Ukraine.